You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, June the 13th, 2020. The Yankees and Red Sox played each other. This was a evenly matched offensive game, 8-6 the final score. Each team had 10 hits in this one, but the Red Sox came out on top by 2 runs. Josh Taylor got the win, Jonathan Holder got the loss, and Brandon Workman earned his 22nd save. AL East baseball between the Orioles and the Rays, 16-5 the final score. The Rays routed the Orioles in this game, and this game was well over by the third inning. The Rays got 4 in the first inning, 3 in the second, and 5 in the third. Charlie Morton got the win, and Wade LeBlanc got the loss. This was his first decision since coming up from AAA. The Blue Jays and Tigers played each other. The Tigers won 8-5. Brian Garcia got the win, Anthony Bass got the loss, and Joe Jimenez earned his 17th save of the year. The Blue Jays had the edge in this game after the 5th inning when they scored 4 runs, but then the Tigers came back with a large inning of their own. They put up a 5-run 8th inning and won this game by 3 runs. The Indians and Rangers played each other, 8-2 the final score of this game. Shane Bieber got the win, and Corey Kluber got the loss against his former team, and he's 3-7 now with the Rangers. AL West baseball between the Mariners and the Angels, a close one. They went to extra innings. 4-3 was the final score, but the Mariners came back and tied the game at 2, forced the game into extra innings. The Mariners took the lead in the 11th, but then the Angels scored 2 in the bottom of the 11th to walk it off. That gave Keenan Middleton the win out of the bullpen, and Matt McGill earned the loss and got a blown save for not holding the Angels in the bottom of the 11th inning. AL Central baseball between the Twins and the Royals, 8-6 the final score of this game. It was a close one. The Royals stayed in it, and they were actually winning going into the 9th inning, but Ian Kennedy blew the save. The Twins scored 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning to win by 2 runs, 8-6 the final. Cody Stashak got the win, Ian Kennedy got the loss, and Tyler Duffy earned his 5th save of the season. The White Sox and Astros played each other. 2-0 was the final score of this game. The Astros got shut out in this one. Despite the White Sox committing 3 errors as a team, the Astros committed 1 error as a team, and the White Sox out-hit the Astros 8-5. Lucas Giolito got the win, Justin Verlander got the loss, and Alex Colome earned his 18th save of the season. The Dodgers and Braves played each other in what turned out to be a close game. It was a 1-run game, 6-5 the final score, and each team got 10 hits in this one. You see, the Braves hadn't scored until the 7th inning. They put up 4 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th, but the Dodgers had already piled on too many, and the Braves failed to score in the 9th inning to tie the game, and they lost. Clayton Kershaw got the win, Mike Soroka got the loss, and Kenley Jansen earned his 25th save of the season. NL East baseball between the Nationals and the Mets won by 5 runs. 7-2 is the final of this game. The Nationals even out-hit the Mets, 8-7, but the Nationals committed 2 errors as a team. The Mets also committed an error, but the Mets won by such a large margin. Marcus Stroman got the win, his 7th of the year, and Joe Ross got the loss. NL Central baseball between the Cubs and the Cardinals, 8-3, the final score. Miles Michaelis got the win, and Yu Darvish got the loss. Another NL Central matchup, the Brewers beat the Reds 5-2. The Reds had scored first. They put up 2 in the first inning, and those were the only 2 runs that they scored throughout this entire game. The Brewers put up a run in the 2nd inning and then had a 4-run 6th inning. They took the lead, and neither team scored in the final third of this game. Eric Lauer got the win, Cody Reed got the loss, and Corey Knebel earned his 2nd save of the year. Interleague play and a close game between the Athletics and the Phillies, 6-5 the final score. The Athletics ended up winning this one. Jake Diekman got the win out of the bullpen, Sir Anthony Dominguez got the loss, and TJ McFarland earned his 1st save of the season with the Athletics in this one. The Pirates and Rockies played each other. 5-4 the final score of this game. Ben Bowden got the win, Stephen Brault got the loss. Wade Davis earned his 15th save of the season. The Rockies put up 2 runs in the 3rd inning. Each team put up 3 in the 4th inning, but Pirates put up a run in the 6th. That made it a 1-run game, but neither team scored in the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. And the Pirates lost by a run as a result. NL West baseball between the Diamondbacks and the Padres, 4-3 the final score of this game. This one went 10 innings. The Diamondbacks made a comeback in the 7th and 8th innings to tie the game, and then they took the lead in the 10th inning, and they didn't give it up. Severino Bracho got the win. Emilio Pagan got the loss, and Archie Bradley earned his 15th save of the season. The Marlins and Giants played each other 7-3 the final score. The Marlins came out on top of this game. Jordan Yamamoto got the win, Andrew Suarez got the loss, and Brandon Kinsler earned his 18th save of the season. Looking at standings, starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees are still at the top of the 42-29 record. The Blue Jays in second place with a 39-32 record. They're 3 games back, and the Yankees have lost 2 in a row, but the Blue Jays couldn't capitalize on that. They've lost 2 in a row as well, and they remain 3 games back of the Bronx Bombers. The Rays are 35-37, 7.5 games back. They've won 2 games in a row. The Red Sox have won 3 in a row. They're 34-38, 8.5 games back. And the Orioles are 30-40, 11.5 games back. They've lost 8 games in a row, and they continue to fall further in last place in this division. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins are 51-21 after beating the Royals today, still at the top of this division. The White Sox have gotten hot. They've won 3 games in a row. They're 43-28, 7.5 games back. The Indians are 39-32, 11.5 games back. They won today. The Tigers are 29-41. They beat the Blue Jays today. They've won 2 games in a row now, but they're 21 games back of the Twins. And the Royals are 22-49. They lost to the Twins today. They're now 28.5 games back of first place. They've also lost 8 of their last 10 games. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 45-26. They've won 4 games in a row. They remain at the top of this division. The Astros have lost 2 in a row. They're 40-30, 4.5 games back of the A's. The Angels are 32-37, 12 games back. The Rangers 29-42, 16 games back. And the Mariners are 24-48. They've lost 8 in a row. They're 21.5 games back of the A's for first place. The wildcard standings look like this. The White Sox have the top spot. The Astros have the second spot. They're split by about 3 or 4 games. Then you have the Blue Jays, who are a game and a half back of the Astros, as are the Indians. The Blue Jays and Indians each have the same record. They're 39-32. And then every other team in the AL has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 6 games back of the Astros for that second wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals are in first place. The Marlins have caught the Nationals, reached 40-30. The Nationals have gotten a bit cold. They've lost their last 3 games. Meanwhile, the Marlins have kept a consistent pace in their last 10 games. They're 8-2 over their last 10. So they're now tied with the Nats for the top spot. The Braves are 37-34. They're 3.5 games back. The Phillies are 33-36. This was a team that was once tied with the Nationals for first place about a week or 2 ago, but the Phillies have been on a cold spell. They've lost 10 in a row. They're 6.5 games back of first place. And the Mets, who've won 2 games in a row, are 30-40, and they're 10 games back of first place. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, 38-32, still at the top. The Cubs are 34-37. They're 4.5 games back. The Brewers are 33-37, 5 games back. The Reds are 29-42, 9.5 games back. They've also lost 5 in a row. And the Pirates lost to the Rockies today. They're 28-42 and 10 games back of the Cardinals for first place. And in the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers 1 win away from 50 after beating the Braves today. 49-21 is their record. They're still at the top. The Padres, the next best team in the NL West, they're 40-32, 10 games back of the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks are 37-33, 12 games back of first place. The Rockies are 30-40, 19 games back. And the Giants are 27-43. They lost to the Marlins today. They're 22 games back of the Dodgers for first place. The National League wildcard standings look like this. So since the Marlins and the Nationals are both tied for the top spot in the NL East, they also qualify for the top spot on the wildcard list. The Padres are the second team on the wildcard list, the second wildcard team if the season were to end today. The Diamondbacks are 2 games back of the Padres for that second wildcard spot. The Braves are 2.5 games back. And then every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 5.5 games back of that second wildcard spot. Looking at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera is at the top still with a .383 batting average. Carlos Santana second best with a .355. And Miguel Andujar third best with a .350. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt tops this list with a .374 average. Jonathan Villar second best with a .352. And David Dahl third best. He also has a .352, but it's slightly less than Jonathan Villar's average. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera and Miguel Andujar tied for the top spot with 103 hits. DJ LeMahieu rounds out the top 3 with 98. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 105 hits, Paul Goldschmidt 10 behind him with 95, and Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with 90. The bat leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar tops this list with 294 at-bats. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 298. He's at the top of the NL. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon at the top with 25, Jose Abreu second best with 24, and Miguel Andujar third best with 23. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 33 doubles, Christian Yelich second best with 25, Ketel Marte and Nicholas Castellanos round out the top three. They're each tied with 21 doubles. Triples leaders in the American League, Jose Altuve has 6 triples, Whit Merrifield, Stephen Piscotty, and Adalberto Mondesi all tied for second best with 4 triples. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 9 triples, Victor Robles second best with 6, Hunter Pence and Chris Bryant tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton at the top with 25, JD Martinez second best with 24, Josh Donaldson and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. tied for third best with 23. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. at the top with 27, Paul Goldschmidt with 24, 3 behind Acuna Jr., and Max Muncy is third best with 18. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has 69, Chris Davis and Josh Donaldson are tied for second best with 60. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt's at the top with 66, Cody Bellinger second best with 55, and Christian Yelich third best with 53. Runs scored leaders in the American League, JD Martinez is at the top with 57 runs scored. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has the most runs scored with 62. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi at the top with 16. Whit Merrifield, D. Gordon, and Malik Smith are all tied for second best with 13. In the National League, Starling Marte has 27 stolen bases, Trey Turner second best with 24, and Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with 19. Walks leaders in the American League, Shin-Soo Choo's at the top with 47. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins is at the top with 49. On base percentage leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera is at the top of the 450 OBP, Carlos Santana second best with a 434, and Alex Bregman third best with a 426. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt's at the top of the 470 on base percentage, Ronald Acuna Jr. second best with a 426, and Christian Yelich 4 points behind Acuna Jr. with a 422 on base percentage. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson's at the top with a 665, JD Martinez second best with a 648, and Justin Upton third best with a 631. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt's at the top with a 740 slugging percentage, Ronald Acuna Jr. just 3 points behind him with a 737 slugging percentage, and Christian Yelich rounds out the top 3 with a 665. On base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson's at the top with a 1.086 OPS. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt's at the top with a 1.211. Moving on to pitcher statistics, starting with wins leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda tops this list with 9 wins. Hyunjin Ryu and Jake Odorizzi are second best. They each have 8 wins. In the National League, Walker Buehler's at the top of all Major League Baseball. Of course, also tops the NL with 11 wins. Jimmy Nelson second best with 8. Madison Bumgarner, Marcus Stroman, and David Price all tied for third best with 7. Losses leaders in the American League, there are 3 pitchers that have yet to be defeated on the mound, and they are Mike Minor, Kenta Maeda, and Chris Bassett. In the National League, Walker Buehler has lost the least amount of games. He's at 1. Everybody else has 2 or more. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendricks is at the top with 26. Brad Hand second best with 25. Brandon Workman and Roberto Ozuna are tied for third best with 22. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has 26 saves. Kenley Jansen second best with 25. And Sean Doolittle is third best with 24. ERA leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has a 2.23 ERA, Mike Minor second best with a 2.32, and Jordan Zimmerman rounds up the top 3 with a 2.66. In the National League, Walker Buehler has a 1.69, Marcus Stroman's under 2 as well, he has a 1.94, and Mike Soroka's third best with a 2.42. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Mike Minor has allowed the least amount of home runs with 5. In the National League, Garrett Richards and Marcus Stroman are tied for the top spot. They've each allowed the least in the NL of 4 home runs. Nobody else has allowed fewer. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka are at the top with 3. Jake Odorizzi is third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has 3 shutouts on the year. Zach Wheeler, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler are all tied for second best with 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole has 127, Lucas Giolito has 112, and Jake Odorizzi's at 108. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw's at 124, Steven Strasburg's at 113, and Yu Darvish rounds out the top 3 with 106. The Complete games thrown among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka are still at the top with 3 complete games thrown on the year. Aaron Savali and Jake Odorizzi are tied for third best with 2 complete games. In the National League, Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler are tied for the top spot with 3 complete games. Aaron Nola, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler have each completed 2 games, and they're all tied for third on this list. Innings pitched leaders in the American League, Hyunjin Ryu, the first American League pitcher to pass 100. He's at 102 innings pitched. And in the National League, Clayton Kershaw, the only pitcher in the National League to pass 100 pitches. He's at 100 innings pitched. He's at 105 innings pitched. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco's allowed the least. He's at 12. In the National League, Brett Anderson's allowed the least with 17. Whip leaders in the American League, Masahiro Tanaka's at a .96. Kenta Maeda's at a 104. And Jake Odorizzi's at a 105. In the National League, Marcus Stroman's at a 101. Mike Soroka's at a 102. Clayton Kershaw and Aaron Nola are close to 104. They make up 3 and 4 on this list. Pitching war leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi and Shane Bieber are each at a 2.4. Garrett Cole's at a 2.3. Corey Kluber's at a 2.2. And Masahiro Tanaka's at a 2.1. They all make up the top 5 on this list, and they're the only pitchers with a WAR over 2 in the American League. Now in the National League, Clayton Kershaw's at a 2.5. Steven Strasburg's at a 2.3, as is Jacob deGrom and Walker Buehler. You have Yu Darvish at a 2.1, and Robbie Ray, the only other pitcher with a WAR of 2 or more. He's right at 2, and they all make up the top 6 on this list. Batting war leaders in the American League, Marcus Semion's at a 4.8, DJ LeMahieu's at a 4.3, and Alex Bregman's at a 4.0. That's the top 3 on this list. And in the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 5.6, Christian Yelich is at a 4.7, and Paul Goldschmidt's at a 4.6. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, June the 13th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.